first thing I have to say is that I put high heels on so that I could be seen by the camera because I am a complete short ass. So if halfway through the talk I fall over, it's not because I've forgotten how to girl, it's because I dropped a microwave, no, it wasn't a microwave, it was an oven, on my ankle a couple of days ago, and I would just keel over like a tree. So if it happens, I expect you all to not gasp and look horrified, but to just go, hey, in the accepted format, and we will move on as if it has never happened. But the camera can see me, which is moderately interesting. So what I've got to say to you today is some stuff about gatekeepers. And it's going to be more of a sort of data-y, anecdote-y talk than some of the amazing stuff we've had previously. So I'm a bit intimidated, but we'll see how we go. So my name is Becky, and I own a company called GameHub. And what we do is we try to explain video games to parents. Yeah, so as you can imagine, I have a lot to talk about, so we'll try and keep it like shortish. Right, so the purpose of the talk today is some hints, tips, and anecdotes, because I thought we're having lots of anecdotes this evening, it's been good, let's carry it on, about some of the unseen, sort of unthought about sometimes, unacknowledged barriers to games acceptance and game sales, particularly within the context of the family and the home. Homes are our theme tonight, barring Kane and Lynch and awesome thoughts about Fast and Furious. So, why the hell should you listen to me? The justification for my even standing here is that prior to starting the company, doing the things we do, I spent a year going from place to place to place to place, talking to parents, social workers, teachers, anybody related to children in even the most tangential fashion. If you have a child, or you've seen a child, or you've worked with a child, I came to you and asked you lots of slightly intrusive questions about your life. As a sort of side note to that, if any of you know anybody who knows a child, come and see me at the end and let me pass on my email address, because what's really important, and what I'll come to over the course of this, is it's really important that we make sure that what we do is relevant to parents, because we have found in our year of research that if it is not relevant to them, or they don't like it, or it's the wrong colour, they don't use it. So, if you know someone who knows a child in any capacity at all, come and say hi. Okay, so you sort of sat there and you're thinking, well, I don't really give a damn about children, they're kind of small and annoying. Why should I listen to you? I'm not making a game, I am making a game, but it's for people who are older than 6. Your talk is boring and irrelevant, and I'm just going to sit and ignore you. Well, this is the problem. It really is relevant to you. And the reasons for this are one general reason, applicable to everybody, and one very specific reason applicable to any devs in the room. If you're a dev, give me a wave. Anybody program, do art, any sound developers? You guys scare the crap out of me, you know. What you do is voodoo. It's magical voodoo, and it makes wonderful things come forward from a box. I did programming at AS level. I got to arrays. I tried to understand how numbers were in a box in the screen that also had depth that I made, and my mind exploded, and from that point onwards I cried at the end of every single lesson as I realised there was an entire field of stuff that I cared very much about and did never, ever, ever understand. So I would just like to take a moment to say, you guys are awesome, carry on doing what you do, and how the fuck do you do it? So if you are just generally in the audience for fun, and there is a very specific and general point for this for you, and if you are in the audience as a dev, there is a very specific point to you also. So the general thing is the general social perspective of games and video gamers is still not great. And we're working very hard on this as a community and as individuals, but it still isn't great. I still go and talk to people, I still accost people on the train sometimes. I sit down next to them and rustle papers until they lean over and go, what are you doing? And I go, video games, can I ask you some questions? And it works really well. But when you ask them, they roll back into the stereotypes that we've tried really hard to work out. They talk about nerds in basements, shooting people and having sex with digital women. And there is definite progress. I hear Minecraft. I hear Dr. Kawashima's brain training. I hear Wii U. I hear Wii Sports. And these are all really great things. And I also hear I can't swear because this is for the children. I also hear a large amount of talk. I was going to say fuck tongue, but hi. For Grand Theft Auto, there is a lot of references to Grand Theft Auto, there's a lot of references to Call of Duty. And the reason that this happens is because this is what they see in advertising, and they go with what they know. And so I'd really like to be able to do, over the course of this talk, if I manage to keep on track, which is debatable, is to try and get you guys to think of them not as sort of vicious people trying to destroy the hobby, but to think of them as just really woefully underinformed. Because if you are able to explain to them and show them events like this, I often direct them to websites, things like this, they do change their minds. So, something that I really want, we work hard on is showing them how much games have developed. We've still got a way to go. We still have an industry portal called Gamma Sutra. But we have moved on a lot. Lara Croft is now no longer a pair of tits on a stick, and you can interact with games, you can create worlds, you can create art, and they're getting it. So this talk is relevant to you if you want to be able to walk into a room and say, I like video games, and have people turn around and go, yeah, that's great, and move on, rather than turn and attack you for your evil anti-social basement dwelling hobby. So, and a lot of reasons why this happens again is because people go with what they know. If I talk to an 8-year-old and I say games, they say Minecraft. If I talk to a 14-year-old and I say games, they say Call of Duty. If I talk to anybody older than that, 9 times out of 10, they either say Tetris or Candy Crush. And that's all they think about with games sometimes. So, if we want to improve the general population's comprehension of games, we have to go to them. We have to be really outgoing, and we have to be really proactive. So this is relevant if you want, like I say, to be able to play video games, and for people to talk to you about it in the funky way that they do if you say books, or films, or clothes, or anything else, because we're getting there. I definitely see progress, and we did it over a year, and you can see progress from one end of the year to the other, so it's a worthwhile thing to do. The second point is if you're a dev, and because we have kind of a mixed audience, I'll just go through this very quickly, is it's really hard to sell someone a product if they're scared of you. It's very difficult. If you walk up to somebody and say, I would like to show you and your child a game, and they grab hold of the child by both shoulders and back out of the room, it's tough, and I have seen that happen. So, we want to get... Okay, so... and I have lots of anecdotes which, if I keep on time, which of course I won't because I'm already over time, log, I will sort of share some of them with you because they can be really quite interesting. Like say we're doing a kind of anecdote kind of evening, and some of the things that you hear are interesting, and I'm not going to give you any solutions because I really want you guys to go away and think about what I've said or laugh at what I've said, it's up to you. But I'm not going to give you, right, here's the problem, here's the solution, we'll fix this as a school. I want you to go away and really think about what some of the stories that I'm going to tell. So I'm just going to sort of intersperse them through before I get to the main part of what I want to say. So conversations that I've overheard or I've had spoken to me when we go and we do get to the concierge is when the child says to the parent, oh, can I have a game? And the parent turns around and says, no, you can have any game you want, but you're not allowed to put any money into it. You're not allowed to buy it, you're not allowed to have in-app purchases. And the reason for that is because I, as a parent, want you to learn the value of entertainment. You can go and buy a cinema ticket or something useful like that, but there are loads of free games, and they're all the same. So don't put money into games. This is good parenting, right? So it's really, really difficult to sell somebody a product if they're scared of you. It's really, really difficult to sell somebody a product if they don't see any value in it. So we have group prerogative to change people's minds if you want the dev sat next to you to be able to eat next month. So when it comes to the checkout and it's mums and dads' money or the pocket money, 9 times out of 10, the parents' natural inclination when it's a video game is to say no. But parents are, they love their kids and want them to be happy, so they don't say no, they say, yeah, go on then. And internally they think, oh God, no, a fucking video game. So this is something we really want to change, because when we're able to show them that games can be positive and amazing, and all the amazing indie games that we see every single day, they really change around. It's really easy to get them to say, oh, yeah, okay, that's a good game. We're okay with that. And what I want to show you, and we might be able to show it on the screen, I'm not sure, is the framework that we use for talking to parents. And some of you may find it interesting in the next argument that you have to have with the angry man on the tube who tells you that your entire life's work is a waste, or your grandparents. So, yeah, I can't see this in the light. So yeah, in a nutshell, what we're trying to do is we're trying to improve the games literacy of parents and the general population. So, how can we help them understand games, and how can we make them feel more comfortable around games as a general topic, for the good of the sport generally, but also if you're a dev, to sell your IAP, DLC, upgrade from trial version, sell a box copy, anything like that. So, like I say, we're kind of bringing it a little bit more on the business side, but not too businessy because numbers are boring. So in the first year of research, we spoke to hundreds or thousands of people. Well, not thousands, but hundreds. And on a bad day, it felt like thousands, but hundreds. And like I say, we talked to teachers, we talked to nurses, we talked to social workers and parents, faith groups, anybody who was too slow to shut the door in my face. Can I come and talk to you about video? Oh, not Jesus? Okay, yeah, sure. Video games. Oh, shit. Yeah. And so we organised the results of the things they said they were interested in, the things they said they were worried about, into 15 categories. And there's a lot of stuff, and I'm not going to go through all of them today. Can't get it on the screen, fine. Okay, I'll use my phone, which is very professional. And yeah, I'm in time, this is exciting. I'm professionally speaking, oh my god, help. So we organise them into 15 categories, which if you go on the site you'll be able to see, but very quickly and roughly they are: key information, platform, ratings and reviews, time, drugs and alcohol, accessibility, languages, representation, horror, violence and gore, creativity and engagement, moral choices, sex and sexuality, social, and learning and skills. That is a lot of stuff, and multiple categories were picked out by parents when we talked to them. They were never particularly interested in just one thing. It wasn't, oh, you can play any game you like as long as it's got no drugs in it. They were interested in multiple categories. And if you're making a game, you don't think of it as just one thing. It's not, oh, this is my game about bouncing balls and that's it. You think about it in a full context, right? This is my game about bouncing balls, it's got physics, and what am I trying to say with it? Where is it set? Who does it speak to? What am I going to process? It's a whole sort of integral entity. And parents sort of see games as a selection of bits. So they say, does it have any drugs in it? And we go, no. And they go, that's fine. And then there's this big pause, and they go, has it got any sex in it? And we go, no. And they go, that's fine. And there's another big pause, and they go, so can you like inject drugs into your eyeballs in the game whilst having sex with the prostitute? And you go, no! And you go, well, okay, I'll go buy it then. And you think, that was weird. They don't think about games within a context, so they don't think about games as maybe having a story. They don't tend to think about games as being a challenging medium, somewhere where you go to do something frightening or something uncomfortable and then not have to do it in real life. They don't think about games as a holistic system yet, but we're working on it. So, some of the things that they ask us, and we're going to move more to the sort of dev side in some of this, about some of the ways that you can present your game to a parent. So, what do you need to have in your PR stuff? I've got a checklist here. So, you need to give your game a context. We talked about that before, and I'm going to highlight it again. You need to, when you're talking to parents, and the thing is, you need to remember your PR stuff is read by parents. Now, you may be sort of sat there thinking, well, parents are not really part of how I'm pitching this game. They see it. And what's worse is they don't always see it in the way that you want them to see it. They maybe hear about it third hand from someone's mum, and they go, right, that's that game that we were talking about, the Elder Fallout Skyrim scrolls, that's the one, yeah. That's that, yeah, Tom's mum said that's got loads of prostitution in it. We don't want that. Yeah, I'm sure that's right. And they move on, because they have other things in their lives, and they don't care about games. And that's okay, but it makes it really difficult when they have bad information, because they're not coming to an expert source. So, when you're writing your PR stuff, regardless of your audience, you need to have a really clear context for your game. You need to spend a couple of sentences talking about this is what it is in terms of gameplay, this is what it is in terms of story, and this is what it is in terms of system as irrelevant to you. You can't just pick out something, and similarly, unfortunately, you can't use the normal jargon that we use. We would say it's an MMO, you know what I mean, we could do it as a quiz. FPS, someone shout it out. Correct, exactly. MMO.
Massively multiplayer online.
There you go, JRPG.
Japanese role-playing game.
Exactly, it's easy. It's stuff that you know, exactly like wiping your ass, right? It's simple. They don't. And when you put that on, it scares them off. So it's a question of using the right words. And sometimes they are a little bit sort of difficult to grasp. You sort of look at your game and you think, this is an amazing piece of artistic genius that speaks. I now have to simplify it, and the best parallel that I can run is this quite a lot like pinball. But you need to do it, and it's important because it helps you ultimately overall to get them interested, because it's a question of getting them through the door. Once you get them on board with the concept and you disarm them from their fears and their worries, they might play the game, or they might sit and watch the child play the game, and they might go, you know, this is really cool, I didn't know games could do this. I didn't know games could talk about the emergence of lesbian sexuality as in Gone Home. I didn't know that games could allow you to create your own world, a la Minecraft. I didn't know that games could touch on ideas about autism and Asperger's syndrome. They don't think of this kind of stuff. So when you can show them, it genuinely blows their mind. So another thing to be mindful of is your references and your throwaway lines. We love memes. We loved the humour of Fast and Furious talk. It was so brilliant. But unfortunately, if they are not in gamer culture, they don't pick up on these little cute, fun, awesome references, and they take them at face value. And it seems really obvious and slightly patronising to say, but I have seen it a lot, where somebody goes, oh, we'll throw in a Kill Bill reference, it'll be great. And it hits the wrong audience, and I get a parent coming to me screaming and yelling about how the game that they bought for their 5-year-old has got a throwaway reference to Kill Bill, and they feel completely undermined and furious. So, don't do it. If you're going to put screenshots in, they need to be really clear, and they need to be annotated, and they need to be representative. Parents are really easily tricked. To the great effect of the AAA, where they just put stuff that they found in the 3D character maker and go, yeah, this is our game, this is great. And then they come home and they come angry to me about, well, I bought it and it looked like this, and now it looks nothing like this, and there's boobs everywhere, what happened? They don't seem to understand that hemlines go up and down according to the medium. So if it's on the TV, the hemlines kind of go down, and when it goes to the game, the hemlines radically go up. And interestingly, opposite way around for boobs. I don't know who works in the TV licensing office, but you can get away with much lower cut for the TV, and then when it gets to the game, they sometimes go up in terms of more coverage, but then they get more jiggly, so. There's some very strange person working at the TV licensing office. Another thing that you can cover, which is really great, and we cover this in the time section. I'm just bouncing through the topics because I don't want to end up structuring this according to the way we do business, because it's a bit weird. Is you can talk about the replayability of your game. Parents don't necessarily see value in games, but they do see value sometimes in not having to interact with their children. They come home and they're really bloody tired, and then they have to come and watch In the Night Garden or Doctor Who or whatever, and sometimes they just don't want to. And there is quite a nice angle on, you can buy this game, you can play it once, and then you can play it again on a different difficulty setting, or you can play it with friends, or you can do whatever. And this, again, helps with this idea of it's not worth anything more than a cinema ticket, in terms of, no, this is an experience, this is something that we can have again and again in different formats that you can share with other people. This is a valuable thing. This is something worth caring about and being excited about. So if you can put in your PR stuff a statement about replayability, that really helps them understand games and helps me deal with fewer furious emails. And anything you don't have, and this is the final bit, so if you're glazing over and thinking, oh my god, she actually is going to fall off those hills, persevere, I'm almost done. It's not exciting or fun, but it maybe is useful. And then I'll end with maybe a couple of anecdotes if we've got time. You got time? Time? Okay. So if you don't have stuff, tell them, put it in there. And then put it in the stuff that goes to your YouTubers, because that's, where the kids are coming from. You send stuff out to YouTubers. The vast majority of that audience is kids who relay back to the parents, who go, I don't have a freaking clue what this is, look it up on Wikipedia, think I still don't have a freaking clue what this is, go to game and come out with hundreds of Skylanders and still not having a clue what it is that they've actually bought. So if you can get this kind of information in front of your PR, in front of the people that you're talking to, about what your game doesn't have. If it doesn't have sex, say. If it doesn't have what female parents, moms, come to us and tell me a lot that they are worried about representations of women in games, game lynch. That comes up a heck of a lot. It comes up with, mental maths, about 75% of the female parents that we talk to, that's one of the things that really bothers them. So if you have a woman in your game and she speaks more than 3 lines, and she doesn't have to have sex with anybody in order to achieve her goals, and you never see her nipples, put it in your stuff, because it'll really make a difference. And if you don't have horror, put it in. The current age rating system doesn't cover horror past the age of about 3, so if you don't have horror content, put it in. This is also useful for trigger warnings and so on, but I'm not going to talk about that, I'm just going to focus on what we've got. And if you can't talk to strangers, stranger danger, this idea of weird people on the internet, which they still really do hang on to, which really worries me, kind of. How do they make friends if they don't talk to people on the internet? Anyway, if you can't do that, put it in the thing. If you can do stuff, put it in your information, because you're not spoiling the game by saying you can play it in another language. We do lots of stuff with puzzle games and story games where we say, you can play it in French. French GCSE coming up, excuse to play video games, kids happy, mum's happy, everybody's happy. If you've got a mate who speaks French, translate it into French. It's good stuff. If you've got accessibility options in there, and I don't just mean stuff like colourblind, although we could do with a lot more of that. Glare, we could do with a lot more of that. I never get to fill that box in. I'm talking about stuff like subtitles. Do you have voiced subtitles, or do you have environmental sound effects for your subtitles? And how are you dividing your game up in terms of time? Can you pause it at any point? Because if you can pause your game at any point, you will I guarantee you, I'll put 50 quid behind the bar, you will make more money if you can tell parents that. Because the number one argument that parents have with children is about this concept. I love it, it's such a new age, crappy word. It's called screen time. Doesn't that sound amazingly terrifying? It's from the future. Screen time. The amount of time you spend losing your brain into the screen with the evil androids from the future who are going to take over the world, according to somebody. So the amount, whether or not you can divide your game up into sections, if they call dinner or come and do your friggin' homework, and they can just press pause, and it doesn't ruin the cutscenes and it doesn't ruin the action, mums and dads will go for it. So if you've got features like that, put them on your PR, and if you don't have features like that, think about them. Don't ruin your game for the sake of 1 or 2 features. But if there's still space in your design document for it at this stage, think about it, because it really does make a difference. And I just want to sort of finish off with a couple of unstructured stories. Maybe 1, maybe 2. I think we'll probably go with 1 because it's a nice one.
1 would be, you're about 10 minutes over.
Okay, right, do with 1. And I just wanted to leave you with it to think about a little bit. I spend a lot of time sitting, watching people in and out of game shops. It's a bit stalkery, but it's fun. And there was a family coming into the shop, into the shopping mall, and the kid goes, "Oh, it's a game shop," and starts running. And dad is like, "Whoo," and starts running with him, because they're like, "Well, we're going to go to the game shop," and gets the glare from mum, and slows down. Kid keeps running, and she chases the son all the way up the shopping mall to the threshold of the shop. And she gets to the threshold of the shop, and she's yelling all this time, "Come back, bloody, come back, come back, come back, don't go in there, don't run off," this kind of stuff. And she gets to the door of the shop, the kid goes in, she gets to the door of the shop, and she just stops, like Wile E. Coyote. She literally reverberates on the threshold. And I thought this was hilarious, and I'm trying not to sort of snigger into my coffee. And the husband catches up, and she turns to him and she says, "I'm not going in there." And I'm kind of like, Why? And she said, I don't feel safe in there. I'm not going in there. That's not a place for me. And she took a step back, and she sent him in. She pushed him into the shop. And that really scared me, because we do so much outreach work. There are amazing events like this. There are fabulous games that hit every single kind of experience and idea. But she hadn't seen that. She didn't feel that a game, an entire medium, so like books or films, an entire medium had anything to offer her. And that scared the crap out of me. And so I hope that coming away from this, even if you've maybe picked up one thing or two things in the midst of it, even if you say, oh God, that woman, she talked way too much, she never said anything useful, but it was just one thing that made me think, then that would be great. Because you guys are the designers, the creators, you make this. I just tabulate it into a great big database. I am the boring person. You guys make it. You make it happen. So I really want you to think about ways that you're able to reach out to those people so that we can bring them in.